Welcome to Growing Up Boomer. I'm your host, Padre, with my co-host, Professor. And this podcast is dedicated to the life and times of the baby boomer generation. The show is loosely scripted and sometimes we'll go down rabbit holes, and where it leads us to, one will never know. This podcast can be informative, funny, and sometimes irreverent. But most of all, we hope you find it entertaining. Hello and welcome to Growing Up Boomer. I'm your host, Padre, and before we go on, I have a little bit of sad news. In the fact that it seems that Professor has a lot more stuff to do than what he had planned, so it'll probably be not until March when he rejoins the podcast, okay? But that's okay. You'll have to deal with me until then. But having said that, now, today's podcast is going to be on Sci Fi TV shows of the 1960s. Now, if you remember, we had a ton of sci-fi shows. And that, of course, was because of the space race between Russia and the United States and the Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, we had all kinds of stuff going on, and we needed, shall we say, that escape. And some of these programs gave it to us. Some were very campy, you know, and just awful, but we gravitated to them, and we had a great time watching them. Okay, so if you were baby boomers, when I mentioned that, I know fond memories will come back because they were something. Okay, so let's before we get started though, I do have a movie review for you. Now, this is a reboot of The Running Man. Now, if you have not seen it and you want to see it, I believe it's on Paramount, please hit the mute button for about 30, 45 seconds. Okay, now let me tell you about this. Okay, you know me, I love these kind of movies, and you know I love these bad movies. Okay, but even this one did not catch my interest. Now, my lovely wife thought it was entertaining. That means it didn't catch her interest either. Okay? Let me tell you, only because they set it up, right? And then, of course, the original one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, that was pretty campy too, but I enjoyed that one. Richard Dawson was excellent in that one. But on this one, you know, it was the first one with Arnold Schwarzenegger was kind of, shall we say, veiled a little bit about corporate America, right? I mean, this one just drives it home so much. You're going like, okay, we already know corporate America is bad. Okay, they'll make you do things you don't want to do or buy things you really don't need. Okay, but they just keep on hammering it home, and I just want to be entertained. I just want to see this guy, you know, get through the obstacles. The difference is in the first one, there's a path or a course. In this one, they just run throughout the, you know, it looks like the East Coast mainly. And the funny thing is, okay, you're really trying to get interested in this guy and you can't. Okay, I mean, he's supposed to have anger issues and you're waiting for those anger issues to come out during the movie. They don't. All right. Now, one thing that's funny, and let me tell you what was a kicker for me, and I knew I didn't care about this person, was the fact that in one scene, he's in like what you would call a slop house, you know. I mean, you know, you've got all these apartments, one room apartments, like little studios, but I wouldn't call them that. They're rat and roach infested, one restroom for the entire floor. Okay, so he's going down there. He's in a towel, just a towel. Okay, and he's walking down, and all of a sudden, the people who are trying to kill him, all right, the hit people, they see him, so he takes off and he goes up to the roof, and there he is, and he's trying to climb down. Now, at that point in time, you would think you'd be interested in what's going to happen to this guy, but you're not. What you're interested in is, how in the world does that towel stay on? Okay, so enough of that said. Let's get into the podcast. All right. Now, the first program, and a lot of you baby boomers may not remember this one, but I do, was called Land of the Giants. Okay, now this one was kind of like a kind of ship that ends up, it's a commercial airline, but it's basically in space, but it ends up crashing, right? And what ends up happening is they're in a different kind of, like, they're on Earth, but everything's 12 times bigger. They're just huge, in which case, that's good. But you can understand why they did this, because if you remember how the genre went in monster movies and stuff like that, the first one was always, like vampires, the Wolfman, Dracula, books that were written near the end of the 18th or the 19th century, if you remember, about the 1800s and stuff like that. Then they started evolving, especially after World War II and the threat of nuclear war. Then they started becoming monsters. Godzilla is an excellent movie done in 1956, which exposes Godzilla as a monster of the product of atomic testing, which is good. But then we started getting into some of these cheesy movies, like 1957 was The Amazing Colossal Man, which of course he's transformed into this raging giant because of a radiation accident. And then there was another one in 1958, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. Now this one particular was veiled as a anti-role movie. When I say that, in other words, in the old days, these men would have affairs, and the woman would have to, the wife would have to accept it. All righty. In this particular one, this woman comes in contact with an alien ship, which all of a sudden she starts growing. Then she goes after the unfaithful husband and ends up killing him. So I mean, and get this. They rebooted this one in 1993 with Daryl Hannah. And the caption was, people always called Nancy the little woman. They'll never do that again. And then they had the same thing. That one went so good, they did the War of the Colossal Beast, which basically is the same thing. All right. Now, and then there's one movie. It's going to kill you. It's just going to kill you. Okay. Now, this one was called Village of the Giants. And this bad boy was based loosely on H.G. Wells' 1904 book, The Food of the Gods and How It Came to Earth. Now, this was what killed it. Like, it contains elements of a beach party movie. Okay, of course, it's 1965. The story's concerned about a gang of rebellious type of teens who ends up getting access to this chemical substance called goo, I think, and this causes them to become gigantic in portion. Now, the thing about this one, which is funny, is Bo Bridges is in it. Jeff Bridges' brother, he's in it. But let's get back to Land of the Giants. Okay, this one ran for about 2 seasons, about 51 episodes. And the thing about this one, it ended in 2 seasons, not because it was unpopular, but because it cost so much money to make. Okay, now this back then was almost $250,000 an episode. I mean, that's big money. I mean, they would have stuff like these huge cameras, and people would be walking around them. Shall we say the little people, and so the budget was just unbelievable. But that one was one that we just really truly enjoyed. Okay, I mean that was it. Now the next one is listed as number 9, in which case I, shall we say, will argue about this one quite a bit. The Twilight Zone. Now, we're not going to get too much into the Twilight Zone because we had done an episode, I think, on Spotify and all of these other radio streaming services in April of 2023, we took a really deep dive into Twilight Zone. And that one was way ahead of its time, way ahead. I mean, I recommend it highly now, even for Gen Zers and millennials, because of course they did not have the big special effects like they have today. So they had to rely on the story. And the story is awesome. I mean, you need to really see that one. The story is just, the storylines are fantastic. And for those of us baby boomers, you know, there's a lot of stars in this one that got their start in the movie business. Like, for instance, William Shatner, he's in 2 episodes, okay? The big one is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. and the outfit is so bad, okay? I mean, it's just like, the monster outfit is just horrible. But let me tell you, the other thing is that it was so low budget. If you ever watched Forbidden Planet with Leslie Nielsen and Anne Francis, most of the stuff that they use in the Twilight Zone was in the back lot from that movie. So they would bring it and they use that. Robert Duvall was in one of them. Robert Redford, which is one that I really like, Nothing in the Dark. That one is awesome. Burt Reynolds, Charles Bronson, and Elizabeth Montgomery played in one called Two. That was good. Cloris Leachman, It's a Good Life. Carol Burnett, Caliber is coming. You know, and they were just awesome. I mean, and some of the episodes. Okay, some of the episodes that you need to see are my favorites. One is He's Alive in 1963 with Dennis Hopper. That one is spooky. Okay, Dennis Hopper played like a neo-Nazi type of leader type of thing, and he's just floundering. He's not getting any followers or whatever, and then all of a sudden this shadowy figure, and literally a shadow on the wall, starts kind of coaching him, cultivating him, and he's starting to become very successful. Well, at the end, you actually see the silhouette, in which case it's Hitler. And so it's like he's alive. He's never, I mean, even though he died, his, shall we say, his beliefs are still here. And that's what we have to fight. I mean, it is very, very good. The other one is The Howling Man with John Carradine. That one is spooky. This is like a traveler who goes around and his car breaks down or something. And so there's a castle there, and there's this like old monk or whatever with the long beard, kind of looks almost like a Moses type of character. And there's a man who's howling. And John Carradine is telling them, you know, don't worry about this guy. Get off to the side, you know, just stay here and you'll be able to leave in the morning. Well, the guy finds where this individual does. This individual then comes out, right? He lets him out, and what ends up happening, he happens to be Satan. Okay, and then all of a sudden, all of the problems in the world start happening because this guy let him out. Very good. Eye of the Beholder, another one done in 1960. Excellent. To Serve Man, oh, with Richard Kiel. All right, that's Jaws from the James Bond series. All righty, that one you really got to watch. It's got like 2 different meanings in it. Great. Now, the other one is The Encounter, which is my favorite. Okay, with what's his name? George Takei. Okay, from Sulu from the original Star Trek. Okay, this one is so hard hitting that with its racial overtones, is that it was held back from syndication in the USA until 2004. That's how powerful this one is. But if you really want to take a deep dive into the Twilight Zone, listen to our podcast done in, like I said, April of 2023. But yeah, you really get why these episodes were so hard hitting, because Sterling did about 95% of the 151 that were done, or 95 episodes of about the 150 that were done. So he did most of them. All right. Now, the next one, And this one was due because of the Cold War. All right. The Invaders. Oh, God, I love this one. You know, this one's about, you know, an architect. I think his name is David Vincent. That's it. Who happens to stumble across an extraterrestrial assault on planet Earth. And he's the only guy that sees it because he was the only guy that saw the flying saucer. Now he attempts, you know, through various means to convince people that there's an infiltration of aliens among us. Okay. And they think of him as, you're just a nut, you know. Oh, and then what ends up happening is the only way you can tell them, I mean, because they formed into human form, okay, is they've got a deformed little finger. So it's always straight like this, you know. So that's the only way you can tell. And when they start morphing back to alien, to being an alien, they start glowing. Their faces start glowing, and the way they did that is they put a red light in their hands, and they would close it up, and their face would be red. But excellent. Some of the themes on that were very, very good. All righty, and they were saying that that was very influential for the X-Files. And if anyone you remember John Carpenter's 1988 They Live. Roddy Piper. Oh, that was great. Now, number 7, they ranked The Outer Limits. Whew, boy, that was an awesome one. And unlike the, shall we say, unlike the Twilight Zone, this one strictly stuck with, shall we say, basically the alien and invasion and stuff like that. Matter of fact, one of them called The Soldier, they were saying that particular episode was the inspiration for Terminator. And you know how much we've seen of Terminator, right? It'll be back. So yeah, but if you remember them telling the viewers, there's nothing wrong with your television set. Make no attempt to control the vertical. We control the vertical and the horizontal. Now, of course, all of you millennials and Gen Zers have no idea what the vertical or horizontal, all right? But we used to be able to control the TV to get it the picture just right. But now it's easy. All right, but yeah, they were very, very, matter of fact, they had one episode, I can't remember what it was called, but these scientists wanted to convince the government to stop nuclear testing. Okay, so what they were going to do, we're going to deform one of their members, have a fake spaceship, and have them land at the Capitol to convince, the United Nations, to convince them that they need to put a ban on nuclear war. So that was kind of interesting. They say the monster was so grotesque that they did not show it for 15 years. Okay, some stations didn't show it. I saw it. Even back then, it looked hokey. It looked campy. I think that was probably just a marketing ploy. But yeah, but big time in the 60s. Oh, and how about this one? and they didn't also be serious, but they could be funny too. My Favorite Martian. All right, with Ray Watson. Oh, that was a great one. Remember, he's a Martian who comes down, his spaceship crashes on Earth, right? And he convinces, I guess his name is a news reporter, Tim O'Hara, who was played by Bill Bixby, to help him repair his ship so he can get out of there. All righty, but of course he's like a benevolent, extraterrestrial. He's always wanted to help people and stuff like that. And they used to call him Uncle Martin. Okay, that's what they would call. And he had the power of invisibility. His antennae would come up and he could be visible, and the power of levitation by using his finger. Okay, and of course, there's all kinds of mayhem that happens, and oh, it's just, I'm telling you, it ran for about 175 episodes. Oh no, about 107 episodes. It was just good, clean fun. I mean, nothing scary about these aliens. It was just marvelous. Oh, and here's this one. And this one was a stone cold classic, okay? This was from the creator, Irwin Allen, okay? The Time Tunnel, right? This was long before Quantum Leap, but the Time Tunnel, oh my goodness. I mean, they would go through through history, all righty? They would go through history and they would see things, I think like the second episode, they end up just before Pearl Harbor. And I can't think there's two guys that get trapped in the time tunnel and they can't bring them back. I think one's a reporter, one's the scientist. One of them lost their father at Pearl Harbor. So what he's doing there, he's looking for his father. I mean, they do some pretty stuff. They even go back in biblical times and at the wall of Jericho, you know. But of course, they split before anything happens, before they find out if, hey, does the wall of Jericho really fall? All right, but yeah, that was a really, really good one. I kind of cheesy a little bit, but still, I mean, it was just really, really good. Oh, get this one. Talk about cheesy, okay? How about Lost in Space? All righty. This was another one by Irwin Allen, okay? And it was a takeoff of the Swiss Family Robinson. You know, Lost in Space, of course, followed the Robinsons, the pioneer family, on the Jupiter 2 spacecraft, okay? And what ends up happening, of course, there's Dr. Zachary Smith. If you remember, this is intolerable. And he's always causing trouble. All righty. They loved it so much, they did a reboot on it. All righty. And actually, I think Billy Murray was in this one. And he's also in the reboot, of course, much older. But yeah, and the series ran for a few years, about 1965 to 1968, about 83 episodes. And it was really campy and silly, and you know, but I mean, it was great. It was family fun. It was devoted, I mean, for family fun, and it was great. I mean, if you remember the iconic line, "Danger, Will Robinson, danger." That, they say, was only said once. I mean, that line itself, okay, is almost as popular as "You're gonna need a bigger boat." Or "You can't handle the truth." Okay, I mean, Danger, Will Robinson was only said in one episode titled "The Deadliest of Species." That was it, but it became one of the big ones. All right. Oh, and how about this one? How about the Jetsons? Remember? You know, the Jetsons, I mean, they had robotic maids. I mean, you know, they're flying cars. I mean, fantastic gadgets, all kinds of neat stuff. All righty. And this is in the 21st century. Now get this. Anyone who's watched the Jetsons, right? I mean, these are way, way out there. Okay. I mean, you know, like I said, we got flying cars, robotic maids. Okay. This takes place in 2062. It's not far off. I don't see us anywhere near that by 2062. Okay. But see, it's a great little cartoon, Hanna-Barbera, who does a lot of great cartoons. But yeah, it is just a blast. Okay. But yeah, it's you know, it's about the nuclear family in Orbit City. I mean, you know, the wife Jane and daughter Judy, son Elroy, and of course their canine pet Astro. Yeah, you know, so that was a great one. Okay. Now this one ranked number 2. And I can be honest with you, as long as this one has been on, I have never, ever seen one episode of Doctor Who. It has 892 episodes. Oh my goodness. I mean, and it first aired in the BBC television in November 23, 1963. And during its initial ran 26 seasons. And they're still making them. Okay, they keep on changing, of course, who's Doctor Who, and that's okay, because I've never seen it. And when he gets into the, what is the TARDIS? Yeah, TARDIS. Yeah, the time and relative dimensions in space. Yeah, time and relative dimensions in space. Time machine. All righty. How often are we assumed about time machines? I mean, we absorb, we love time machine movies. I mean, remember Time Machine itself? Okay, they did a reboot on that one. Okay, Back to the Future, right? Hot Tub Time Machine. I mean, they do them all. Okay, we just love being able to travel backwards and forwards. Okay, but it's just we have an obsession with that. So, but now the number one, and if you haven't guessed it by now, okay, I will be, and you're a baby boomer, I would be deeply disappointed. Okay, and I'll tell you right now, we can thank Lucille Ball's Deslu production company for saving this one. Okay, basically it is a wagon train to the stars. I am talking about this program with, even now, has a current grip on popular culture, Star Trek. It's hard to imagine the sci-fi movies in the 60s and not to think about Star Trek. Oh man, can you believe that? Remember, William Shatner, who else was James T. Kirk, Leonard Nimoy was the first officer, DeForest Kelly, medical officer, Bones, and you had Scotty, Uhura. Oh, that was awesome. It was awesome. It's 5-year mission, right? Right, which only lasted 3. Okay. Now, this is it. This is it. Okay. After the first one, first of all, NBC was not pleased with it. And after the first season, they wanted to close it. But someone started a mail-in lettering to protest. And all kinds of fans start writing in and would not allow them to stop. So they said, okay, we'll keep it going for another 2 years. But they put them on Friday, the worst spot to have a program. So that way they can say, see, look, see, the ratings are not there. But, and get this, the original pilot for Star Trek, was not Captain Kirk, was not William Shatner, okay? It was Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Christopher Pike, okay? Wasn't even James T. Kirk, but the Captain Christopher Pike. And if you remember, they do the first 2 episodes of Star Trek is imaginary, and they have Christopher Pike, and he wants to get back to this planet where he had been in a terrible accident, if you remember, and he's confined to this kind of like wheelchair, and he can't move. But when he gets back to this planet, he becomes whole, and that's the basis of it. Matter of fact, they had a woman number 1. Okay, Spock was played by Leonard Nimoy. I think the woman's name was Barrett. Yeah, I think so, Barrett. But she was number 1. And the uniforms weren't the short skirts. They were actual uniforms for the women. All righty? They were pants with a shirt. They were dressed no different than the men. But I guess NBC said, nah, we don't want that. They tossed everything out. Everything goes. All righty? And then they brought it back with the short skirts. The only cast member they brought back from the original pilot was Leonard Nimoy. Okay, that was it. In Star Trek, that franchise has produced 16 movies and 13 TV series with 1 more coming up. I can't believe it. And how many conventions has there been there? Oh my goodness. I mean, even though, what was it? The Big Bang. Okay. The Big Bang does, who is it? Sheldon. I mean, he's a big Star Trek guy. All righty. But think about that. 16 different movies and 13 different TV series. Some of them were pretty bad, but you know what? They employed people. That's the important thing. All righty. Well, that ends our little walk down memory lane when it comes to sci-fi movies. There's a lot, or I'm sorry, sci-fi TV programs. There's a lot more, but you know what? These were the ones that were very influential to us baby boomers. And I'm hoping that you baby boomers are out there, that it brings back memories. And with that, we'd like to thank you for listening, and may God bless. We'd like to thank you for listening and remind you, if you happen to have any baby boomer topics you'd like us to cover, just email us at growingupboomer@gmail.com. And until next time, may God bless.